A trade war is about to make life a lot more expensive.
25% tariffs.
25%.
We saw a major sell-off on Wall Street, the broader market having its worst day of the year.
This is a very dumb thing to do.
We fight like hell, like we've never fought before.
You've probably seen the headlines. Canada and the US are locking horns in a growing trade war, and it's already starting to hit our wallets. Here on day one, the stock market is already tumbling, and folks, this is just the beginning. Rising food prices and supply chain disruptions are all but guaranteed, and many economists predict that we will be in a recession before long. Today I want to talk about 5 important strategies to keep in mind so that you can weather whatever economic storms are on the horizon. Let's get started. But first, if you don't know me, I'm Spencer, and I like to talk about simple living, frugality, and digital minimalism. So midway through last year, I started investing money into the stock market. It wasn't a lot of money at the time. It was only a few $100s, but ever since that time, I've been a lot more attuned to what the market's doing. I'm a lot more invested in it, so to say. And folks, it's been a wild ride, especially here in 2025 with all of the threats we've seen of a trade war potentially coming along. The market has been up and down. It has been volatile to say the least. And now today, with the newly imposed 25% tariffs on my home country of Canada, and it sounds like my country is going to be doing the exact same thing right back, we are locked into a trade war and things are about to get interesting. Now, many economists have said that a trade war is going to be bad for everyone and that it ultimately ends in recession for potentially both parties. But regardless of whether we end up in a recession in the near future, recessions are inevitable, so it's important to prepare for that rainy day because one will come along. But recession or no recession, we are all going to be impacted by this trade war. So without further ado, let's get into the 5 things that you can make sure you are doing to cover yourself in case of economic hard times. So the first thing that I'm doing to prepare for these economic hard times right now is to sell, sell, sell. So the reason behind this is twofold. It's a pretty good idea to have some money put away for a rainy day. And if you're pretty sure that rainy day is coming soon, then you might want to stick a little bit more money away still. The other part of why I'm particularly trying to sell stuff right now is because I have a lot of stuff cluttering up my home and I'd like to sell it and get money for it while buyers are still looking to buy. When times get tough, people really do tighten their belts, and if I even can manage to sell those items at all during those times, I'm probably going to get a lot less for them as opposed to if I tried to sell them today. There's also a chance that with this trade war, the opposite thing could occur. With tariffs driving up costs of products in store, secondhand items might become more valuable. While people will be for sure tightening their belts to save money wherever they can, those people might be looking to the used markets for more cost-effective options. So it's best to get started right now, get selling and get saving. So if you have any items kicking around your house that are worth anything, and I guess by worth anything I mean $20 or more, then sell that stuff and get that cash stashed away ASAP. With online buying and selling sites like Facebook Marketplace and eBay, selling your stuff has never been easier. And if you say, I've got nothing to sell, then maybe take a little bit of time to reflect, because I believe the average person has plenty of unused stuff that they could sell for some extra cash if they looked hard enough. The second thing that you need to do to prepare for economic hard times is to live below your means. And I mean live well below your means. By lowering your cost of living now, you can provide yourself with a financial buffer against rising costs. Now, this is for sure something that you hopefully were doing already, but during economic hard times, like I said, people really do tighten their belts and try to live as lean as they can. So get practiced in that now while it's a choice and not forced upon you. If a trade war leads to job losses or wage stagnation, those who are living paycheck to paycheck are going to feel it first. By finding ways to lower your cost of living now, it's going to make life a lot easier when the time comes that you really need to do it. Just picture it. Everyone else is going to be having a hard time adjusting to the penny pinching lifestyle, and you will already be a pro. Strategies here can include cutting streaming services and finding free alternatives, and I've done several videos on that topic and I'll link one of those above. You could try to renegotiate your phone bills and frankly a lot of other kinds of bills too, or you can even switch providers for a more cost-effective option. And if you have one of those pesky gym memberships that just won't go, try working out at home instead. Over the past few years, one of the biggest expense categories I've been working on is my food costs, and particularly my groceries. Now I try, and I emphasize I try, to eat as close to possible as $100 to $150 Canadian per month for my personal grocery spending, and I do not hit that most months, but I'm trying to hit that area. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. I have hit it before, and I think I will hit it again, but you have to be quite planful and regimented if you want to make big goals like that happen. I'm working on a video which will hopefully be coming out in the near future on how you can eat on an extremely low budget and have it be both possible and passable, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you soon. Living below your means actually means taking a look at your current spending, seeing where the money's going and patching up whatever leaks you may find. The economic uncertainty brought on by this trade war makes now the perfect time to build some financial flexibility. This could look like packing lunches each day for work rather than always grabbing something to go. On the extreme end of it, we could be talking about selling your expensive car and driving a cheaper option instead. And if you're constantly overspending and you've gotten used to the lifestyle that comes along with spending all of your pay, then it's going to hurt a little bit to adjust to that lifestyle change. But like I said, it is certainly going to hurt a lot less to choose that change rather than being forced into it by hard times. Now, the third thing that you want to do to prepare for hard times is to diversify your income streams. Now, I work in the film industry. I'm a freelancer, and pretty well the entire time I've been in this career, since around 2019, it's been a rocky road. In Canada, not only does the film industry essentially hibernate throughout the entire winter and you have to start living off of your savings, but last year especially was a lot slower than in previous years. So an economic recession cutting even more job opportunities in my field is not the cherry on top I've been looking for. Like I said before, the trade war will have its effect on certain industries and job losses could follow. During a recession, pretty much all sectors are affected, and we'd like to think that our job is secure, but it's important to have your own back just in case. For me, this looks like many different things. One thing I've been doing is, apart from taking just film jobs, as in making films, I've also taken other opportunities within different subsectors of the industry, such as in TV and in sports. This really helps to strengthen my contacts in the various areas in the industry. In case one of those specific areas is more impacted than others, then I can lean on the other ones for my income then. But I'm also trying to find other opportunities outside of my normal job as well. I've found some small editing contracts that I can do here and there, which are also thankfully remote. And then I have this YouTube channel as well, which is another small income stream which adds an extra little bit and protects me, so if my main income goes away, my total income doesn't just suddenly drop to zero. Now, if you work a steady job and you can't quite diversify in the same way that I did, try to find some small side hustles that you can do. Even if it's just buying stuff and then flipping it again on Facebook Marketplace. As a longtime fan of American Pickers, this has been another little great income stream for me, and it's something that I just love to do. So get creative, and you can probably find a few ways to put your unique skills to use to make a little extra cash. Okay, so the fourth thing that you need to do to prepare for a recession is to build up an emergency fund ASAP. Now, about a year ago, I did an entire video on 4 reasons why you need an emergency fund and how best to build one, and I'll link that above if you're interested. But once again, folks, you need an emergency fund. And even if you're in debt and you feel like you just can't allocate any more money towards something like an emergency fund, you still need an emergency fund. And in fact, you especially need an emergency fund. The main reason for this is that you want to make sure that if an emergency does come your way, and one inevitably will come your way, that you're able to handle that emergency with cash and not go into debt to cover it. Research has shown that around 37% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency with cash, and 21% of Americans don't have an emergency fund at all. This is not a good situation to find yourself in. It leaves you very vulnerable, especially in a more prolonged emergency like a recession where it could mean the loss of your job. Now, popular financial guru Dave Ramsey recommends saving around $1,000 as your starter base emergency fund. And that's just going to help you be able to cover those $400 emergency expenses that many Americans can't cover now. But if you don't have any debt and you have a little bit more money that you can allocate towards something like an emergency fund, then you should aim toward 3 to 6 months of expenses. Whether you lean more toward the 3 months or the 6 months is really going to be based on your personal situation, what industry you work in, and what the realistic potential is for job loss. Again, like I said, since I work in the film industry, which can be very unpredictable, I opted for the 6-month emergency fund, but your situation may differ. Now, wrapping it up, folks, the fifth and final thing that you need to do to prepare for a recession is to stock up. Now, I'm not going to come out here and start advocating that you turn your media room into a toilet paper room, but like I say about physical media collecting, it's important to curate an intentional collection of the things that you value. This can be translated into the context of food or other household staples by reflecting on what your household uses in a given week or month. Once you have a list of those must-have items, then take a look for sales on those items whenever you're out shopping. Slowly, what's going to happen is you're going to accumulate a small backup of those products at the best price possible. With this trade war, we could see some shortages or supply chain issues which could rise prices on certain goods. So stockpiling non-perishable food, household supplies, and necessary electronics before tariffs rise can save money in the long run. We also know that more reciprocal tariffs could be on the way, or perhaps even further more punitive tariffs as countries respond with tariffs of their own. This is also a great time to mention the thing that you've probably heard from everyone and you're probably already practicing in relation to this trade war, and that is buying domestic wherever possible. If certain foods you rely on are imported, consider shifting your diet to more locally produced options. By supporting domestic businesses, you can reduce your reliance on costly imports and help your local economy thrive. You also want to consider changing your shopping habits based on which items' prices are going to rise the most. Now, folks, I think we all have some pretty vivid memories from the past 5 years of food prices and other household goods prices as well skyrocketing at random. And if you needed those particular items at that time, then you had to pay whatever exorbitant price the stores were charging for them. So by keeping a stocked pantry of those staple items that are integral to your household, you're not going to get caught with your pants down. And yes, that is a toilet paper joke. And that's just about it for today, folks. 5 ways in which you can prepare for the economic hard times that just might be on the horizon. You know, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. We need to take a similar approach to our finances. Nobody has a crystal ball and knows exactly how this is going to pan out, but if you have your financial ducks in a row as best as you can, you're going to be in the best position to weather this storm no matter what happens. But now I want to hear from you. What key strategies that I may not have mentioned in this video are you using to prepare for economic hard times? And which things did I mention today that you just might start doing today? I also think that we can learn a lot about preparing for a recession by looking at history, and I did a whole video on the frugal lessons that you can learn from looking at the Great Depression right here if you're interested. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.